appreciated. Thank you. Next is Richard Suggate.
Kia ora koutou. This is a personal submission, and the part of, I comment on a number of things in the long-term plan, but what I want to focus on is the proposed disposal of land behind Diamond Harbour. It's slightly perplexing that myself and other members of the community actually have to submit on this, as in 2019 it was declared to be a strategic asset, and that was backed by the council and the community board. Anyway, here we are again. It's a bit like a zombie project, having to argue that there needs to be adequate consultation, and a one-liner buried in the back of the long-term plan is not adequate in terms of Local Government Act as consultation goes. There we are. That's the land. Others already have spoken to you about this and will speak to you again. Other people will. Essentially, I want to support what the submissions of the Community Association and the Reserves Committee and the Community Board submission. You can see it's bounded by a considerable amount of housing, and that has school in the top left-hand corner, and limited road access once you take into account proposed covenants. These covenants are in a state of being finalised, but most of those, the vegetated darker green areas, are going to be covenanted. However, there's a number of points I want to make about that. The boundaries haven't been defined yet. There's the actual total size of covenanted area is larger than the actual non-covenanted area. Therefore, the complexities of that covenant management, there's a lot of restoration work undertaking, dominates the land. And lastly, the actual covenant idea is basically, I think, is rather a silly one. I don't actually understand how the council can have a covenant with itself and then going to sell the land to some developer who will then have a covenant, and then the citizens who are doing the restoration work will have to deal with a developer. They should be reserved. Those areas just should straight be reserved. Right. Moving on now to the next final slide. That's a smaller portion to be sold. That represents the complexity of this proposal and why there should be consultation. Those bits in red have been amalgamated. On the top right-hand side, those are areas that I've spent the last 6 months watering the plants in. They're not included in the proposed covenant. Running across the middle portion there, you'll see a white line. That is a school track, which has been put in by local residents with support of the council. There's no protection for that either. And essentially, if you also see, there's a triangular portion which is of council land that has been encroached by a neighbouring property, and you can't sell that sort of thing in the state. Basically, this is a half-baked proposal. There needs to be adequate consultation with the community. Community interests need to be taken into account, and I ask that you actually have this removed from the long-term plan. Thank you.
Thank you. You've wrapped that up in the time frame allocated. And as you say, there have been a number of other submissions as well, so we'll be taking some further advice on it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next one is Robin Simon.